Okay. Looks like it's time to go, so we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to the February meeting, and I keep looking at that bright light coming off of the projector, so I guess it gives good light for the camera. I don't know if there is an off the side. There we go. Ooh. Welcome to the February meeting for the Tri-City Photography Club. Glad to see good turnout. Weren't sure this morning with the snow and them closing the schools if anybody'd be brave enough to drive the roads, but anybody that got out of the house saw the roads weren't bad. So if you're not here, if you're watching us live online, you're missing out. You should be here with your camera. We'll be talking about your cameras, how to use them, all that good stuff. So let's first start off with some business. First off, anybody has their phone here, wants Wi-Fi, the password is here it's on the Benton PUD public, and the password is access granted. It's on both bulletin boards. And just remember to put the period in. Thought it was the end of a sentence. So access granted, a capital A, a capital G, and the period. Yeah. So, and if you're in, check in on the event. Tell people you're here, that you wish they were. Always fun to do. The first order of business I wanted to go through was our new year. We actually have 3 new board members. Ken Larson, and Ken, you're here. If you stand up, there we go, right in front of me. Thank you, Ken. And Mandy Greenwood, right here. Thank you. And Rick Zimmerman, right there. Yeah, it's our token Sony. And most important too, I want to say thank you for the board members that retired this year for their time that they were on the board. Ellen Love is here, and I think Ellen's the only one that's here that is going off the board, but also Karen Norton, Pam Madsen, and Terry Volkman. So just really glad to have had their service on the board. The board works hard at making these things come together, and it's always a lot more work than we think, but we have a lot of fun when we get together. Something that hopefully will get more people encouraged to participate in as we go, but we've got a good board this year. I'm looking forward to it. If they can just get rid of me. Bring it back. Okay. All right. The other thing was we're trying to do some new things this year. One of the things is a monthly photo walk. So the Saturday after the club meeting, so it's always try to be consistent. We're going to try to get together at some local location, usually, and just go take pictures of things. And it's really interesting to see how somebody else sees something and you were all there. You get a photo back and you think, I walked right by that and didn't see that angle of that object. We did last month, we were downtown Kennewick. Some great photos on the club Facebook group showing what we did. There's the event for it, so I think they're posted in there as well. This month, so Saturday, it's going to be Clover Island photo walk. So we're going to meet at the Lighthouse parking lot at 9 o'clock. And we try to keep it to 2 hours and walk. There's some great artwork there. There's the lighthouse, the bridge, lots of interesting things. So if you have 2 hours on Saturday morning, please come down and have some fun talking. Last month I brought my pocket camera and was really shown up by those that brought their real cameras. But come on down no matter what you've got. Dirk. And how about from upstairs? Oh, really? Okay. I've never tried to check the door. So, bolt cutters? the let's try to think. I don't think so. I think it's just chance. The be interesting to find out though. Mandy asked if there's somebody we could contact about getting the door open. So if anybody knows that contact, it'd be great. But okay, Dirk will work on it. Thank you, Dirk. Cool. The other thing that we have planned or is in planning stages is a Dallas Mountain shot, or I'll call it a photo walk for lack of a better word. How many of you guys have ever been to Dallas Mountain area to shoot the wildflowers when they bloom in the spring? Okay, it's great. We're hoping to get something scheduled for a Saturday where we can go up as a club, you know, carpool, whatever we want to do, or go up and get some photos. It's fantastic. Some of my favorite landscape photos were taken from that area. So if you can do it, keep an eye out. That'll be this spring, of course, because you want to wait till the flowers bloom. Right now is not probably the time to go. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of other ideas, and we're looking for ideas for other photo walks. So if anybody has somewhere they would like to go and do some shots, you know, let one of the board members know, post it on the Facebook group, whatever you need to do. You know, we've done it nighttime at along the river for some bridge shots with the moon in the past. You know, all kinds of ideas. So we'd love to get some suggestions because we do want to do this every month. And if we have to, more than once a month. And you can always start your own. You want to go and take photos of XYZ, post it on the group. Hey, I want to meet up with somebody Saturday, go take photos. Anybody up for it? It's some of the best times is learning from the others around you. Okay, the meeting tonight is different than our normal. We had 2 speakers for the first half, and then the second half we are going to do Know Your Camera. And let's see, somebody's already got their equipment up over here. Sony. So I see Rick's already claimed his corner. Let me see. It's the goats on the left and the sheep on the right, I think. Something from the Bible. So you've already taken the right side. So Rick knows what he thinks about Sony cameras. And so we'll have Sony here, Canon up here, and Nikon on that table in the back. And if you have any other camera or you want to talk about pocket cameras, we'll have another table up here in the back. So just other ideas, different things, or you just have general questions on photography and it doesn't relate to one of the 3 major brands, or you really want to represent Pentax. Okay. So the meetings for the first half, we were going to have a gentleman here to talk about metal prints. A pipe busted in his house, I guess cold weather. So that took precedence over coming to the club meeting. And so we'll have just Ellen. We will have Ellen. And she's going to give us a talk. It's aimed at beginners, but on white balance. So if you've ever had issues with white balance on your camera or kind of curious what it's all about, Ellen will do that. And then after she's done, we'll open it up for questions and answers because, you know, as Ellen told me, there's people, she was afraid because there's some experts in here. So if you have questions about white balance, when she's done, you can ask them, and we will have at least 3 different answers for your question that you ask. So at least one of them will be right. Maybe, no, yeah. So it's not at least one, it's one of them might be right. Okay, so without anything else, Ellen, are you set to go? Were you going to wear the headset, Mike? Oh, okay. You're just going to talk loud, or you want me to hold this for you?
Okay, how I got into this. When we had our last board meeting, the last board meeting I went to, which I probably shouldn't have gone to, because I'm now standing up here. But we were trying to find ways for everybody to get something out of the meetings. And sometimes we get beginners in, and what we have might be way over their head. So we thought, well, maybe we should do just something little, so that everybody will get something out of the meeting. So I get tonight, when most people here, well, you all know your cameras real well. So just ignore me. And I hope there might be some beginners, and this will be real short. But a lot of people, when they get their cameras, they just turn it on auto, and that's where they leave it. But there's some great features that you really want to know. Can you put the PowerPoint on for me? And one of them is color changing in your pictures. And white balance will take care of that or help you with it. And we will go through that in just a minute. It's Jay, did you have it in there? There will be only 2 slides, and I'll start with the number 1. That's it. That wasn't my picture. Okay, I went out on my patio today, and I took the same picture with changing to each different light setting that you would have on white balance. And as you can see, number 1 is the auto white balance, the AWB on your camera. And that one is where most all of us will start. It just works thinking, oh, this is what I'm going to do. It's the best guess that your camera will do. But then you can change it over to daylight, and on the back of your camera, you will have all these settings under white balance, and you can change it to which one you want. As you can see, daylight brought in a little bit more light than the auto white balance. So if I had to choose today, I would have picked daylight out of those 2. But then the next one would be shade. Now, if I was in a shady area, it might have been good, but where this was set, you can see it made it really dark. So go on over to cloudy, and because it was cloudy today, out of all of them, I like the cloudy best. That will bring in some more warmth to your picture. Tungsten, thank you. That one is your inside light, and you're using your light bulbs in the house, and that's going to cool it way down. A lot of times when you take pictures in the house, everybody is orange. It's a little bit too warm. So that setting will bring it down to make it a little cooler. Your next one is a fluorescent, and that's if you were in an office where they have fluorescent lights. And it just gives it a more cooler look. And there's flash. So out of all of them, I would have picked cloudy for today outside. Now we have in our cameras, we can use JPEGs or RAW. If you want to play with RAW, your white balance, you really want to use your RAW rather than JPEG. Can you go to the next slide? When you take your picture in to edit it, if you have JPEGs, you can only go over here to the right. You have as shot, or auto, or custom. Those are the only three things you can do. You really don't get to manipulate. If you use your RAW setting or your RAW file, let me get over. You have auto, daylight, cloudy, you have all those options I gave you. Plus, you would have some others for the more advanced settings, whether you use Kelvin, that's number settings, and what was the other one? Where you can use a white card and make your own white. That's a little more advanced. So if you really want to play with your white balance, I suggest using RAW. If not, you're not going to have as many choices. And if you don't, then when you take your picture with your camera, be sure and set it in the back in your white balance of which one you want to use. See, I can do it wrong, excuse me, and my RAW, I can fix it. If I have JPEG, I can't fix it in post. Okay. Okay, well, it's not just Photoshop, but it's Elements and the different programs there that many of us use. Right. Okay, and that's going to be each person, as it's going to be your choice. I found this is mine, but Dirk has his, so get out there and find what you like and enjoy it, and try to know both ways. You can't know too much on it, but that's it.
Yeah, so we had some good comments there. I've always, on the RAW and JPEG debate, depends on how much editing you need to do or want to do. One of the examples I heard is a JPEG is, a raw image is like going to the store and buying the flour, the milk, eggs for your cake, and you can remix them any way you want because you've got the right amount of ingredients. The camera saved all the data and you can go in and manipulate it. JPEG, your camera uses a version of Lightroom or GIMP or whatever, a processing program, bakes the image for you and gives you that. Now you can still go in and put a different frosting on it. You can tweak it a little bit, but you can't make the major changes that you can make on a raw image. But then again, a JPEG's how big, and a raw image is huge. And if you're going to do raw, if anybody looks at a raw image, the first thing you think is, that's an ugly picture because it hasn't had the tweaks done to it. So, it does take work to get the photo to be as good as what usually your camera does right out of the camera. But there's a lot of, everybody has an opinion, so I'd love to hear everybody. Okay? Yes. Right. Once it's JPEG, it's gone. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, exactly. And right. Right. And memory cards are so much cheaper than they used to be. My wife asked me if I had a SD card for something she needed to do, and I said, "Well, no, but I've got these 4 megabyte compact flash cards, which are worthless. I don't know why I still have them in my drawer, but hard to throw some things away when you're a pack rat." Dennis, when you're shooting your photography for like the sports and stuff, are you using JPEG or RAW? RAW. Okay, that's what I thought. So much better. You could hit it right the first time every time on JPEG. Yeah. 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 You've upgraded since last time. Yeah. I kept telling my wife that, yeah, I have to have this new camera because it'll do this. And yeah. Yeah. I've still got my little camera. Jay? Yeah. So yeah, you can do that. Yes.
I purposely shoot dark sometimes. With my camera, I like to keep the ISO lower, those classical Liquid grain. So I know with my wedding, like shoot f2.8 at 60th of a second handheld, and I can shoot that darker and bump it up post processing and have that outcome look 1,000 times better than if I raise the ISO up to, 900 or 1,000 or something
Right.
like that. So, and I also like to play with, doing, like I'll shoot a raw image and I'll export it, for the background and I'll export it for the foreground. I'll combine the two also.
Okay.
And
Process them and then
just
re-import them.
mix Photoshop.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with those. And I've done that too, because if it's dark, the limits to your camera won't let you get the right exposure and still hand hold it. With the raw, you can take a darker photo and recover some of it. You can't recover blur, at least not yet in Photoshop or Lightroom. I'm hoping someday they can do an unblur and bring everything back together. And I've seen videos on YouTube that says it's coming. But Dirk. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. And I think some of those things are the guys that use it all the time, the guys who wrote the software know how to do things that, sometimes I'd like to bring them a photo at a display and say, here's my photo, see what you can do with it. Cool. Nice. Any other white balance questions? I think that's when the preset settings aren't enough for you. You look in this room and you say, oh, let's see, fluorescent and LED or whatever those is. I need to do something halfway in between. And if you can figure it out, but it's actually easier probably to shoot it in RAW and then get it on the computer and bring it to the right color. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. So it's more of a XY axis to change instead of just a slider. Right, they do that in Instagram now, right? Everybody takes and changes the colors terribly. No, I know. Mm-hmm. Right. Get your control. Yeah. There you go. Saw a couple hands. Nice.
software, if you're in Levels, in Photoshop, or if you're in Adobe Camera Raw and Lightroom, there's a little Doppler where you click on a white part of the picture, and that'll set your white balance. And that's, if you really screwed up, I've done plenty of times, that'll make it starting.
Yeah, I'll take it when I've done the sports photos, and a lot of the runners will be wearing their bibs, and it's usually a white with a number on it. So I say, I know I've got white here. This is supposed to be white, and it shouldn't be looking pink on the thing. So Dennis. Yeah. Right. Yeah, if the settings that are there aren't good, you can always slide. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think Rick has one here.
So here's an example of it's gray card. It is a Wilson Art laminate with a particular number that was cited as it is 18%. So like you're saying, you take the first picture like this, and then after that point you can set everything. So that's one idea.
You use the dropper that you're talking about, and just go, beep, that's gray.
Yeah, or the fold out that you're talking about. I almost bought one of those, but I carried this for a while. Yeah, yeah.
Or you just ask the person you're taking the photo of to hold it, or you lay it up against it so you get whatever light's on the subject.
Many of us know Rich Brashears. He just said take a picture of your hand.
Yeah.
That's
Close
another
enough.
option too.
So. Right. Right. Yeah, that's what I was saying too. Yeah, have your subject hold it, or put it next to your subject so you got the same light. Landscape, you'd probably, you'd just put it out far enough that it will get the light. Just so it's the same light. Okay.
So many of us have also something like this only round. This is a cheap Chinese knockoff. But again, this will even out the light temperature. So when you do your custom balance, you just put this front pointing to the light. Then this will average.
Average all the light that it's seeing. Okay.
A lot of times it's a screw on. This is
That's just
$15.
big blur. Interesting.
How'd you guess?
Right. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, and that way you get your neutral. Okay. Anything else in that white balance range that when you're using your photo editing software you've had issues with or thoughts about? I'll admit, because I've always shot raw, I've not given a lot of thought to white balance. I just leave it on my camera. I leave it on auto because I know I'm going to tweak it when I get into Lightroom anyway. Doesn't matter if I hit it right on. I'm not going to realize it's right on until I've tweaked it a little bit and found what I like. So, and most of the times I find the camera smarter than I am, and the auto it's amazing the computers they built into these little cameras. No, it does only works in RAW. And so, yeah, I've had to invest in multiple, 3 to 4 gig hard drives. No, not gig. The big ones at Costco. Yeah, 3 terabyte. You know, I've got 5 of them sitting next to my computer. For, you know, you're doing sports photos, you can take a lot of pictures. So, anything else on white balance or any other? Well, we're going to have our breakout, so you can ask any other questions, anything else. So, at this point, let's go ahead and go to our break. When we come back, we will have Sony, Canon, Nikon on that table, and others. I'll have a table up here in the corner. And questions? Okay, and let's see, it is 7:15 right now, so let's plan to be back at 25 after.